I struggle on whether or not to have a show tonight. It's Wednesday when I'm recording this, a few days after a young man by the name of Jacob Blake was shot multiple times by the police officer. But I elected to do this show, and I'm still going to talk wrestling, but podcasting can be therapy for me sometimes. So I figured I needed to do this. And I did want to talk wrestling, but I wanted to make sure I started off before I kicked off the show to remind y'all that Black Lives Matter. All we want is equality. It's not something we should have to beg for. So, coming up on Break It Down with Brian H., we're going to discuss how Big E had a similar conversation with The Miz.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Break It Down with Brian H. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. This show, of course, is brought to you by the Wrestling Realm. And in case you don't know where you can get this show, let me just throw it on your screens. Make sure you hit the subscribe button right now on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We're also there. But make sure you subscribe to the channel right here on YouTube. That way you get, and also turn on the bell notifications. That way you are notified each and every time we drop a new show. And I put it up there on your screens as well. I was on Twitter, and shout out to my boy Blake. He brought up this to my attention. So I said, you know what? This is where I'm starting to show off. Because, not going to lie, wasn't sure where I was going to start to show off this week. But this just seemed perfect. And it's a tweet from Andreas Hale or Andradeus Hale. Forgive me for pronouncing your name wrong. And it says, oblivious white privilege exists everywhere, especially in pro wrestling. In this video, you'll find the following: the invisible package of advantages, victim blaming, the I went through it too, and just work hard arguments and ignoring hurdles. You may be wondering, what is he talking about? If you didn't see Talking Smack, I'm going to play the audio clip for you in which Big E spoke with The Miz, and he said what a lot of us has been saying. So let me go ahead and mute my mic and unmute this.
Actually, before we get into any of that, can I mention, like, Kofi, I will say, is far too humble, far too do the right thing to mention this. But I'm going to say this because it's never been said, really, not publicly. But Kofi's a guy that had his legs cut out from underneath him. To see what happened with the match with him and Brock, and then to see no title opportunity after that, he just goes back into tag teams and whatnot. You know what I mean? That's disrespectful. And I will say, we joke. Okay, yeah, why not? Why not?
Okay, because I was WWE champion at one time, and the same thing happened to me, and I needed to rebuild and regroup myself. I wish I could have taken Kofi and said, look, you need to make sure that whatever happens after your WWE Championship run, that you don't lose that main event status, that you don't feel like you are not a top star in WWE. And honestly, I was a victim of that. I was. There is no doubt in my mind that I should have been where I was. But now I'm keep working and keep dedicating myself to try to be a WWE champion once again. So that's why I'm sitting out here telling you, your jokey stuff, it's fun, it's great, it's entertaining, but it's not going to work to get you to the Universal Championship.
So wait, did you wait 11 years to get your first world title opportunity? I don't think so.
No.
You didn't.
But it's been a long time since I've had another Universal Championship.
You've gotten many opportunities, and I get you're very talented, you're very deserving. Kofi waited 11 years for that one opportunity, then it was gone, poof, just like that. Back to doing tag stuff, back to doing normal stuff. And like I said,
But he allowed it. He could have fought that, couldn't he have?
How?
What do you mean how?
Where was his opportunity?
what is the one thing they tell us when we're in developmental and when we're trying to build ourselves up? If you have 5 seconds on a television show, that is your opportunity to make people believe that you deserve better. So you deserve more.
So he failed himself, is what you're saying?
I always blame myself. I don't blame anybody else.
Right.
I blame myself
Right.
for all my failures.
That's easy to say when you've been handed opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. You didn't wait 11 years to get your first world title opportunity, did you?
No, because I
Were you
didn't
here
have
for
to,
11
because I
years?
was a star because people believed in me.
And Kofi wasn't, right?
Huh? There was no one at that time more hated, more despised than me in WWE. Nobody.
Right.
Everyone couldn't stand me, whether it was in the locker room or in the WWE universe. And that is why I propelled myself and utilized myself to be the biggest star there.
You didn't have to wait 11 years in the mid-card. You didn't have to wait 11 years doing your thing week in, week out, showing up, shaking hands, being a professional for 11 years.
I'm waiting right now. Right now.
Okay.
So I do want to bring things
I was
back.
even supposed to be here
I do
today.
want to bring things back to
And
what's happening.
they were like, dude, we need a host, so we're going to get them.
That is The Miz talking about things that he went through. And that's Big E. That right there, folks, is an example of what privilege looks like. And do I think The Miz is racist or purposely uses his white privilege? I don't know. I don't know him. Maybe not. Based on what I've seen, what I do think, and I'll be honest with you, I think maybe The Miz is someone who probably grew up around just white people and was taught not to talk about race. Therefore, he doesn't. So therefore, it may be hard for him to see systematic oppression. There was we talk NBA, right? I mean, NFL. Cameron Jordan said he spoke to somebody and they were discussing all the things that was going on. And this coach who was white says, oh, he just turns on Disney World or Disney Channel, so his kids don't have to see what's going on. And he said he doesn't have that same privilege. He can't do the same thing. He has to let his children know about all the things that's going on. So I thought that was interesting. We've had conversations after conversations from Naomi being done wrong. You can even throw Sasha Banks in there. It seems like she can never get a full title reign. She just lost the belt Sunday. Now, I did say, and I'll talk more about Sasha later, I didn't think this title reign was meant for her to have the distance. But still, Kofi Kingston, there's no doubt about it. It's one of those things where black people waited so long to have a black WWE champion, and by the time we finally got him, poof, be gone. The reign lasted much longer than we thought. If you go back to the night after WrestleMania, when him and Seth Rollins said they were going to have a winner takes all match, every black wrestling fan was nervous because we thought Kofi was going to lose the championship right away. And we said, look, we said if we could just get it for one night, but come on. Like, that was one of those things where you want to take back your prayers. So I was happy that Big E went there. Shout out to my boy Blake for kind of bringing this tweet to my attention. But like I said, I was happy he went there. It's very important. We already have these conversations, folks. And like I said, it does happen in the world of professional wrestling also. NXT is getting a facelift. Keith Lee dropped the NXT Championship, which a lot of people didn't like. Same thing with him. But he dropped the NXT Championship to Karrion Kross. And he moved on to Monday Night Raw. Now, Lee definitely had some challenges. They changed his music. I wouldn't say he had challenges. I'll say this. People wasn't perceptive to him. He had a totally different outfit. He had new music. And one of the things I hate what he did was he responded to all the trolls. And it's like, come on, bro. Like, and I don't understand this thing about celebrities. They will respond to the trolls, but they don't respond to the positive tweets. And Kevin Owens said it. He does it, but it's like, why do you do that? But anyway, WWE changed his music, and the word on the street is because of the thing with the CFOs, the former producer, they're trying to dial back because they have to pay rights and usage and all that stuff. But he fought Randy Orton, and in matching up in a DQ, they will take on each other this Sunday at Payback. Now, this is the first time that I can remember where the WWE is doing a big pay-per-view and a pay-per-view after a big pay-per-view, like immediately. Usually have to wait. But that's definitely one of the matches that's set up on the card. I'm interested to see this match. I think Randy Orton, I was talking to the real Dwayne Allen, he brought up a good point. Randy Orton loves building new stars. So this is an opportunity. He can build a guy like Keith Lee. You know, Keith Lee obviously could benefit from Randy Orton. You come into the main roster and you get an opportunity to work with one of the greatest superstars in the history of the business. And that should be noted. And I know he noted that to one of the trolls. And then he said, as far as the music, let him worry about that. Hopefully they'll change it. You know, music for wrestling fans, it's a part of our soundtrack. It's something that we always pay attention to. You know, I was definitely somebody who have the CDs. The first one I bought was Volume 3. You know, 4, 5, 6, so many of them. I bought them. You know, it's a part of my my rotation. Now you can get it on your phone, so I make sure I have it. But I want to know what they do. Now, I did bring up NXT getting a facelift. Wednesday night, Karrion Kross relinquished the championship. He suffered a shoulder injury during the match with Keith Lee, and it's obviously something he can't wrestle through. So he's going, he put the title down. And it does make you wonder, for all that, Keith Lee could have stayed champion and stayed in NXT. Now, granted, hindsight being 2020, that wouldn't have happened. Who knows? Should there have been a call in the middle of the match? Should there have been, an audible? They do it all the time. They make audibles during a match. For those who do not know what an audible is, it's changing the play. In this case, changing the booking, changing the finish. They could have called the audible, but maybe they didn't know how serious it was. But he got injured in his match with Keith Lee, won the championship, and he relinquished it. And he's going to come back for it. But in the meantime, next week on the NXT Super Show, they're going to have 4 of the greatest NXT champions that's still down there. But 4 of the greatest champions to square off, and the winner will be the NXT champion. And it's going to take place in a fatal 4-way Iron Man match. So I can't wait for this. This is going to be fun because it's not something we've seen before. It's going to be Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and Adam Cole. I'm rooting for Finn Balor. I would love to see him become NXT champion once again. You think about now they're on USA. This guy was NXT champion before, had an incredible run. Then he was the WWE Universal Champion, the first ever Universal Champion. Unfortunately, he got hurt in his match as well. So now this could be an opportunity to get Finn Balor going to this new NXT audience, because that was at a time when NXT was exclusive to the WWE Network and Hulu. But now with USA, Finn Balor can be the guy to carry it to new levels. Of course, you can always go Adam Cole, but I do think with Cole, there's, it's kind of looking like he's getting ready to take that next level, go to the main roster. Well, I should say Raw or SmackDown. Maybe not so soon, but we'll see. This past week, we saw Retribution take out the WWE superstars, Dominic and Rey Mysterio, and they left him laying. But there's a lot of sayings. A lot of people could tell who some of these members were. And as I was reading and I was looking at some dirt sheets and stuff, I saw a lot of people name a few NXT superstars. Now, I don't have any clarification. I do have an idea, just because I know wrestlers, but I ain't going to reveal them. But I want to know, who do you think these people were? Drop it in the comment section, folks, and let me know who you think some of these people were in a part of Retribution. And who would it make sense to be the main leader? Who would you be happy that would be? Because I haven't seen anybody who's really excited about this storyline. I haven't. So I want to know, who would you be excited if you saw that they was the leader? Bobby Lashley. He went to the Raw Underground, told Shane McMahon he was in the mood to beat somebody up. And he beat up Dolph Ziggler. Now, they had a nice back and forth scrap. Both of them are shooters. They are legit as they come. But in the end, it was Lashley tossing Ziggler out into a mosh pit, and he beat up a few others. So, but I'm going to go ahead and take a break. When I get back, I'm not going to have a long show tonight, but when I get back, I'm going to talk the women. So I'll be back after this.
As Brian H. Waters has distinguishedly said, we as wrestling fans will no longer use following terms as wrestling fans in reference to the wrestling business and or sports entertainment. With that being said, on anything wrestling run related, we will no longer use the following terms.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. So that was a quick clip of our State of Professional Wrestling address. To see the full thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking the link below. And make sure you comment, obviously. But also, it's on the playlist. Go into the promo section. And, check it out. Let me know what you think. We got a lot of other stuff in there as we try to make sure we keep this channel entertaining. I brought up Sasha Banks. Her and Asuka had a rematch in a lumberjack match for the Raw Women's Championship. And I think we all knew there was no way Sasha was regaining the championship. And she didn't. But once again, Bayley failed her in a sense. Bayley did try, but Shayna Baszler was out there attacking her. Shayna, obviously, she beat Bayley earlier in the night by disqualification. And that's going to lead to Payback, where Sasha and Bayley will defend the tag team titles against Shayna Baszler and Asuka. Now, I'm not excited about this. I really hope Sasha and Bayley win. If I'm booking this for Sasha and Bayley to win, and then Shayna and Asuka really set up their feud, and then you go into Hell in a Cell or Night of Champions with Asuka taking on Shayna for the Raw Women's Championship. That's how I would do it. There's no need for them to really lose these championships to two people who aren't tag teams. Quite frankly, the women's championship tag team titles don't have that much longevity where you can put it on a throwaway situation like this, a makeshift tag team. I know Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross was one, but they eventually formed a great bond, so it made sense. But Sasha and Bayley, no, don't do it. Doesn't need to happen. So there's that. Just want to remind you, if you are on Facebook, make sure you like our Facebook fan page. Make sure you share that as we host all our content there as well. And of course, make sure you subscribe right here on YouTube. Or if you're in your car listening, there's a lot of content that you will not get on the podcast apps that's exclusive to YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to the Wrestling Wrealm. We saw the Riot Squad and Bianca Belair defeat the Iconics and Zelina Vega. This was good. I think I'm not a big Ruby Riott fan, but Liv Morgan is cool. So I'm happy to see them two together again. We all know I want to see what happens with Bianca. I hope she can sustain enough relevance to be next in line for the winner of Asuka and Shayna, because that will make so much sense. She hasn't been able to get over the hump of Shayna Baszler in NXT. She had a couple opportunities. Personally, I think they dropped the ball. She should have won at TakeOver that November, but then it was like, okay, well, maybe she'll win it in Phoenix. She didn't. So I'm really hoping that she does become a Raw Women's Champion before the year is out. She has the potential to be the greatest WWE women's superstar in history. I know I said Charlotte Flair earlier this year, but I remember, like, if you look at Bianca, she is the full package. Systematic racism. Come on, WWE, cut it out. So, in the main event of NXT, we saw Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai successfully defeat Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai. Ripley was in her mode. She was getting set, but then there was Mercedes Martinez. And I'm telling you, folks, I am excited about this feud. You have two women who are two powerhouses, and they're going to beat the crap out of each other. And this is going to be one of those different matches. This is like that Karma versus Beth Phoenix match that we never got. You know, these two women who are strong forces that will essentially take each other out. So I wonder, what do they do here? Hopefully we get it. Io Shirai, I want to see how she holds up. I do think Dakota Kai has a championship reign coming, but she's going to need help from Raquel Gonzalez. That's just my opinion. That's the way I see it happening, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I got to do it. Before I get out of here, folks, I got to put on a tapped out as I look for it on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I gotta do this tapped out.
Here's our tapped out segment of the week.
The tapped out this week, folks. Why can't we have nice things in wrestling? Why can't we have nice things? You look at everything that's happening, right? And you have the WWE gave us something nice with the Thunderdome, an opportunity to be a part of the show. They can get the live fan reactions from home, and it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Instead, you have people doing some of the most ridiculous things. They had to fire the Velveteen Dream sign up there. Okay. All right, that's how you feel. A lot of people don't like him. Yeah. Understandably so. But then you had somebody really put on a KKK outfit. Full suit. And I'm like, dude, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you knew what you was doing. And then somebody put an ISIS execution video. So I'm sitting there looking at all this stuff. And I'm like, man, this is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. We getting an opportunity to be a part of the show, and these people are going to ruin it. I brought up, I think I was telling my friends, the NBA. I believe the way the NBA do it, they must use, is very closed circuit. You can get on the app and cheer, but I believe far as the on-camera people is reserved for relatives of the players and the team and the officials and stuff like that. Maybe not the officials, but like personnel, team personnel, family members. And that's probably what the WWE is going to end up doing. You know, I tried to get in the Thunderdome. I couldn't. I might try for a Payback, but we'll see. Her is a really cool experience. I want to see what it's like. You know, I want to see. And people got mad because they said, well, WWE's programming the audience. It's a television show. When you go to TV, if you go to NWA, Power, it's the same thing because it's a TV show. It's a TV product. So, yeah, of course they're going to do the countdowns and all that stuff. Like I said, I don't see it. Shout out to my brother Corey, who the one who told me about it. But I just couldn't understand these people, man. Like, you really just freaking stupid to put that stuff on the screen. So, that's where I'm with that, folks. I like I said, it's just ridiculous. I'll never understand it. Why would you do such a thing? You've been given an opportunity. To be a part of something cool, to be a part of the show. So, but ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this week. Like I said, not a very long show this week on Break It Down with Brian H. Just want to make sure I remind you to subscribe to the Wrestling Realm right here on YouTube. Go ahead, drop a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify and Google. Leave a review too. Leave a review on Apple with the YouTube channel. Drop something in the comments. Let me know if you got a show that you want us to do. Let us know. We'll put it under consideration. We are open. If you got a show that you like, maybe I want you guys to talk about this. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. We do check them. So make sure you do that. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Until the next time, folks, so long, everybody. Now let me find the end of the show. Thank you for tuning in to Break It Down with Brian H. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified every time the Wrestling Realm posts new content.